Okay, students. So, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to SM Public Academy Campus 5. And as you all know, I am your teacher, Mrs. Saba Arif, and I'm your English teacher. And today we'll be having the 11th lecture of English language. Okay, and you know what we are doing in English language? Do you have any idea about it? Okay, let's have a quick review. What we are doing in English language is that the active and the passive voice. Okay, we are doing the active and the passive voice in English language. And you all remember we have done the present tenses together. You did present tenses with your last teacher, and then we did the past tenses. So we did the past indefinite, the past continuous, and yes, you have done the voices previously, beta, but you have done them for the past tenses. Today we will be moving further. Okay, we will be doing it further because we have more things to do in the active and the passive voices. Today we will be doing, we will be moving forward. Okay. So in the previous class, we studied about active and passive voice for three types of past tense, that is past indefinite, past continuous, and past perfect. I also told you that the past perfect continuous tense does not change. Okay, you should always remember it. I can give you this thing to trick you. Okay, to ask you if you know it or not, and then definitely you should know that the past perfect continuous tense does not change the voice. If it's an active voice, it will remain inactive voice. Okay. So let's move on. Our topic for today is active and passive voice for the simple future tense, future perfect tense, the modals, and the imperative sentences. Okay. Now, for the simple future tense and future perfect tense, that means that for future continuous tense and for the future perfect continuous tense, we don't have a change in the voice. Okay. If those two tenses are given an active, they remain inactive. Whereas the rest of them, the simple future tense and the future perfect tense, they change. Okay, and then similarly for the models and the imperative sentences. So let's have a quick flashback where we were. What is the active and the passive voice rules and examples? Let's see. So, first of all, what you have to do is you have to identify the object, the subject, the verb, and the object. Okay, you should know what is the subject in the sentence, what is the verb, and what is the object. Then you change the object to subject. If you remember, I told you that the object and the subject they interchange places with each other. That is the subject. If it's in the end, it goes to the front. It comes to the front, and the sentence begins with the subject. That is the object goes to the end, and the subject comes to the beginning. Okay, and then we put a suitable helping verb or auxiliary verb. Okay, in case the helping verb is given, use the same. But note that the helping verb given agrees with the object. Okay, so you have to make sure that you put the correct auxiliary verb. This is very important when you are changing from active to passive voice. Okay, then you change the verb into past participle of the verb. That is the third form of the verb. The verb changes from the first form to the third form. That is the past participle form. And then after putting the third form of the verb, you put a finally the preposition, and the preposition is by. Okay, you put a by and you put the object in the end. Okay, and then finally again, as I told you, you change the subject into object. That is, you interchange their places. The subject and the object, they interchange their places. Okay, so let's move on. Now, simple future tense. When we are discussing the simple future tense, let's see what is the first of all in the active voice, the passive voice, the auxiliary verb that we will be using is will and be. Okay, so will and be will be the auxiliary verbs that we will be using when we are changing the active voice to the passive voice in a simple future tense. Okay, that is also called the future indefinite tense, the simple future tense. Now, let's look here. Alina will buy a bag. Now this is subject. My subject is Alina. My focus is on Alina here, okay, because she's my subject. Will is the future tense. Buy is my first form of the verb, and my object is a bag, okay. So now when I change it to passive voice, now the positions of the object and the subject will be interchanged, okay. That is, now the object will come to the beginning of the sentence, and my sentence will begin with a bag. A bag will be bought by Alina. Will be is my auxiliary verb that is helping me, and from buy I changed it to the third form of the verb, that is bought. Okay, and buy is the preposition I will put, and Alina is my subject. Now here my focus was on Alina. In passive voice my focus is on the bag. Okay, so the bag is the main word here, and here Alina was the main word. You remember why we use change from active to passive voice? In active voice our focus is on the subject, that what is the subject doing with the object, and in the passive voice our focus is on what is happening, what is the impact of the object on the subject. Okay, this is the difference in both the voices. So my sentence changes to a bag will be bought by Alina. Okay, now the second one. Students, please mute yourself. Do not unmute, please. Okay. Now the second one here is, this is the negative sentence. Alina will not buy a bag. So now again I have my subject will and the not, that shows that it is a negative sentence, first form of the verb plus object. So this will be changed into not, Alina will not, sorry, a bag will not be bought by Alina. Okay. So now the sentence changes to a bag will not be bought by Alina. Okay. Okay, it's okay, students. Don't worry. If you have by mistake turned on something, it's okay, no issue. But make sure you don't do it intentionally, because you have to follow certain rules in the class. So let's coming back to our lesson. Alina will not buy a bag. A bag will not be bought by Alina. Okay. Now similarly, if I change it to the interrogative form, will Alina buy a bag? That is my question form. So my will comes in the beginning, the subject, the first form of the verb, and then the object, and then a question mark for sure, because this shows that this is a question. I have to punctuate the sentence for sure. So with the passive voice will be, will a bag be bought by Alina? This will be will, and then again my object, and now be will come here, that is my auxiliary verb, the third form of the verb with the preposition by, and in the end I have my subject. So this will be, will a bag be bought by Alina? So is the simple future tense clear to you all, the active and the passive voice? So let's move on, students. Okay. So now the second one we have here is the future perfect tense. Okay, now see, we don't have the future continuous tense, because as I told you, the active voice remains the active voice for the future continuous tense. It does not change. So we will move to the future perfect tense. Okay, we are moving directly to the future perfect tense. Okay, Tayyab, I'll mark your attendance, don't worry. Okay, so he will have received the letter. Now this is my active voice for future perfect tense. Okay, he will have received the letter. This is my subject is he. Will have is the will have been is the auxiliary verbs that I am using now. Okay, you see the auxiliary verbs have changed. In the simple future tense, it was will be. Now it is will have been. The most important thing, students, when you are changing from active to passive voice is your auxiliary verb. If you know which auxiliary verb you have to put and the third form of the verb here, you can easily change the sentences. The most common mistake that I have seen in your copies is that you either don't know what auxiliary verb, if you are putting a has or a had in place of it, then it makes your sentence incorrect. Okay, and you should know the forms of the verb. I have seen you people making and you don't know what kind of changes there, that they were simply amazing for me. How can you change those words into those forms? So he will have received the letter. The letter will have been received by him. Again, the object, the will, the have been. These are my auxiliary verbs. The third form of the verb with the preposition by and the subject in the end. Okay, and he changes to him. I told you in the last class the change in the pronouns, that he changes to him. Okay, she changes to her. He will not have received the letter, that is the negative sentence, so it changes into the letter will not have been received by him. Okay, so the letter will not have been received by him is my passive voice here. Now I see the interrogative. Will he have received the letter? That is, the will is in the beginning. That shows that this is an interrogative question. the subject, and then I have the third form of the verb with the object. Okay. And now see, in the future perfect tense, we are using the third form of the verb at both the places. Will the letter have been received by him? Okay, so now again I have the will with the object with the have been, that is my auxiliary verb here, the third form of the verb, and then the by, and then the subject with the question mark in the end to show that this is a question. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, now remember, active sentences in the future continuous and future perfect continuous tenses cannot be changed to the passive. Okay, make sure these are some important points that you should always remember, that these words cannot be changed. Okay, so let's move on. Now let's move at the models. Remember what are modal verbs? Do you all remember what are modal verbs? Any idea? Think about it. Okay, so a model is a type of auxiliary helping verb that is used to express ability, possibility, permission, or obligation. Okay, that is when we are using can, could, be able to, may, might, shall, should, have, must have to, and will changes to would. Okay. Okay. So the example is can and may, shall, must, will. Now let's see how can we change them. Okay. Passive voices for the modals, example may, might, can, must, should, or the auxiliary verb used in passive voice is be. Okay. With all these models, we have to put a be for sure. The be is the auxiliary verb that will be used to change it from active voice to passive voice. And then again, the format will be changed. That is, the object will change interchange position with the subject, and the subject will interchange position with the object. And the third form of the verb will be used with the preposition by. The rest of the format remains the same. Only and only what you have to do is you have to put a be. Okay. So how it is for can, the model can becomes can be. How? He can drive a car. A car can be driven by him. Okay. He cannot drive a car cannot be driven by him. Okay. So you see how it is changing. Can he drive a car? Can a car be driven by him? So only be is the auxiliary verb, and the can is changing the position to make it a question, and the same format is followed for the models as well. Now for the model must. He must learn this book. This book must be learned by him. Now, learned is my third form of the verb. Please, students, make sure you put learned. You put a T at the end. Please don't put ed. That is not the second form. The third form is learned. It's a T in the end, okay? So, this book must be learned by him. He must not learn this book. This book must not be learned by him. You see, you put must not remains the same, and you put only a be. The auxiliary verb is only the be. Must he learn his lesson? Must he learn this book? Must this book be learned by him? So again, it is a be and a learned, okay, by him. Again, the format remains the same. And I forgot to put a question mark here. I guess you should put a question mark here for sure, okay? Okay, so for May, she may eat an apple. An apple may be eaten by her. So now the may changes to again may be. It's only a be that is the auxiliary verb that is helping you to change the active to the passive. You can see all these examples. You can review them afterwards as well. Go through them. You will see that there is an only change of be. Okay. She may not eat an apple. An apple may not be eaten by her. May she eat an apple? May an apple be eaten by her? Okay. Might, for the model might, she might kill the snake. The snake might be killed by her. She might not kill the snake might not be killed by her. Might she kill the snake? Might the snake be killed by her? Okay, so again, it's only a change of be. Now, passive voice for past models. Now, those were the present models. Now, let's have a look at the past models. The be changes to been. Now, I have the auxiliary verb that I'm using is been. Okay. So, I should have started a job. So this is a past tense. Okay, the sentence is in a past tense. So the change would be a job should have been started by me. Now see, should have remains the same. I'm only adding a been here. Okay, and the been is the auxiliary verb that changes it to from active to passive. Okay. Okay. So I should have not. Okay, I should not have started a job. A job should not have been started by me. Again, should not, and now I have a have been here. Okay, should not have been. Again, the auxiliary verb is been. Should I have started a job? Should a job have been started by me? Again, to change it into a question, the should goes to the front, and then the object comes to the beginning and the subject goes to the end. Now I changes to me. Again, this is a change of the pronoun, that whenever there is an I, it changes to me. Okay, when you're changing it from active to passive voice. Students, these are small details, but if you will focus on these things, then your lesson or then your work will be very much more better, because definitely these are the small rules that you have to always follow. Okay. So must have. Now he must have passed the exam. Again, I'm doing all these again because that previously I was telling you in the present tense. Now this is the past tense. Okay, for the models. He must have passed the exam. The exam must have been passed by him. Okay. He must not have passed the exam. The exam must not have been passed by him. So again, it's just a been that you are adding. Must have been. May have been. Okay, you may have helped the kids may have been helped by you. You may not have helped the kids may not have been helped by you. So you see the examples that every time it's only a been that I am adding and the format I'm changing. That is, now you must have learned it by now with so many examples. He might have killed the snake might have been killed by him. It should be him. The snake might have been killed by him. He might not have killed the snake. The snake might not have been killed by him. Okay? Is it clear? Let's move on. So let's move on to the imperative sentences. But you first of all tell me in the chat box, is the models and the future tense clear to you, or do you want me to repeat it anything that is not clear still, so that I can first share it with you and then we can move forward? Kindly tell me in the chat box if anything is still unclear. I can tell you so that we can move forward together and there is no issue. Please reply me in the chat box, students, so that I can move forward, because if there is any question till now, we can always sort it out before we move forward. No questions? Seriously, everybody's understanding everything? Okay. Okay, no questions. Everything is clear. Maida and Mariam and Laiba. Okay, good students. Muhammad Ali, thank you. Muhammad Zayed, thank you. You all are understanding. Very good. Just make sure that if there is any question, you ask me now, because you will be having your test starting soon. So it will be difficult for you to attend them if you don't understand the small details. Okay. Okay, so let's move on, students, if everything is clear. So imperative sentences. Now, what are imperative sentences? Do you have any idea? You must have done the types of sentences. So do you know what are imperative sentences? A sentence that expresses a command or an advice or a request is called an imperative sentence. Here are some examples. So, a sentence that expresses a command in which you are giving a command or an advice is, or a request is called an imperative sentence. For example, learn your lesson. Now this is an advice, okay, but there is no subject object things like this. It's just a straight sentence that says learn your lesson. Now the second one is a command, open the door. That means a command is being given that you have to do something. Okay, help the poor. This is again an advice. Please make a cup of tea. This is a request. So all these are imperative sentences where there is a command, advice, or a request. Okay, correct. So let's move on. There are three rules for converting an imperative sentence from active voice into passive voice. Now, what are those rules? Let's have a look at them together. The imperative sentence in passive voice begins with word let. Okay, so let is now the word that every time we will be using that every time we will be using when we are changing the sentence from active to passive voice. Okay, so you should now see again, it is important for you to recognize the imperative sentence to put a let in the beginning of it. Okay, every sentence is not an imperative sentence, only advice, command, or request. And see, when you look at these sentences, they're actually short sentences as compared to the other because they don't have a subject and an object, they are just direct sentences. So if you just look at them, you can very easily recognize them if you know what it is. You should know if it's an advice or a request or a command. And they have to put, you have to put a let in the beginning of them every time, okay? Okay, the second rule is the word be is used as an auxiliary verb in passive voice of imperative sentences. So basically, the word be will be used. That is our auxiliary helping verb is be. Okay, and then the base form or first form of verb, example, write, etc., is converted into past participle or third form of the verb, example, written, for making passive voice of imperative sentences. This is exactly the same rule that we have been doing for the last, present, past, future, all tenses, that we change the first form of the verb to the third form of the verb. Okay, this is the common thing that we always do. We always have to change it from the first form to the third form or the past participle form. For example, here it is written that write. Write is the first form, write, and the second form is wrote, and the third form is written. Please don't write wrote because wrote is the second form. Okay, so for sentences like this, make sure you know your past participles or the third forms. Just learn them, please. I've been correcting your copies and I see these mistakes again and again. You guys are making these mistakes so many times that you are not putting the correct forms of the verb. So kindly, students, learn them. If you cannot remember them, just learn them, memorize them, so that they are helpful to you for in the whole lifetime. Okay. So the passive voice for imperative sentences. Let's see. The first active voice I have is respect the elders. Now you see this sentence is short and it has a direct advice. Respect the elders. Let the elders be respected. Now in the starting I put let, and then I change the order of the sentence as I always have to, that I take the object in place of the subject, that is the elders come to the beginning, and be is the auxiliary verb I'm using, and respected is the third form of the verb, okay, or the past participle form of the verb respect. So let the elders be respected. Finish the task. Let the task be finished. Now this is a command, okay? Let finish the task. Let the task be finished. Do not waste the time. Let the time not be wasted. Now this is a little typical one because it has a do not, and do not changes to not be, okay? So you have to make sure you can do this. Close the door. Miss, why we use let Hamza Mushtaba, you are asking? Because that is the way we change it. Okay, that is a rule. We have to follow the rules. We just can't go away from the rules. When there is a rule, we have to follow it always. If it's written that you have to use let to change the sentence, so you always have to use let. Okay, because definitely you are changing an active voice to a passive voice. So some changes are a must. See, if I'm changing respect the elders, so how will you change it into the passive voice without using a let? Tell me if you have an idea. Respect the elders. The elders should be respected or anything. You cannot change, put a should or anything by yourself. So to make it still an advice, we put a let, or to make it still a command, we put a let here. Okay. And again, that is a rule. You have to put a let. You just can't skip the let here. Okay. Is it clear, Hamza? Okay, beta. Let's move on. So close the door. Now this is a command. Let the door be closed. Now if I don't put a let here, if I say the door be closed, that sentence does not make any sense. Okay. It does not remain a command even. And as I told you, if it's a question in the active, it has to remain a question in the passive. If it's an interrogative or if it's a negative sentence in the active, it has to remain a negative sentence in the passive. You cannot change the form of the sentence. You only have to change it from active to passive. That is, the format is changed, but the type has not changed. The type remains the same. Okay, you cannot change the type of the sentence. Remember that. Wash the shirts. Let the shirts be washed. Okay. Now there are certain exceptions. Exceptions are those there are certain sentences every time, or there are certain types of sentences that don't follow the rules. Okay. So what are the exceptions? Please help me to complete this work. Now here I'm not going to put a let, because definitely let is when you are giving an order or when you are telling something to somebody, and but this can, you cannot order here or you cannot advise here, so you have to put you are requested to help me to complete this work. So now because it's a please, so the please changes into you are requested. Okay, the please changes to you are requested. Come in proper uniform. Now that is a command. Okay, you are supposed to come in proper uniform. You can't just change it, let yourself come in proper uniform. This won't make any sense. Okay, so whenever you are changing active to passive, also make sure that the passive voice sounds sensible. If it's not sounding sensible, that means you have made a mistake over there. You have to make sure that there are no senseless changes. Whenever you make a change, make it sensible, make it look uh, if you tell it to somebody, it should sound sensible enough to understand. Definitely. Now if I put it again, I will repeat this one, that if I say come in proper uniform and if I say let yourself come in proper uniform, that does not make any sense. That means let is not the correct word to be used here. So then what I'm going to change, I'm going to use any other word here, and that is you are supposed to come in proper uniform. Okay, these are the exceptions. So shall we move on? Is it clear? Okay. So let's try these examples together, and I'll be asking one by one, and please students, the student I ask, kindly answer me so that I can know if you are up and if you are awake and if you are listening to me and if you are following the directions. Okay, so let's move on. Let's have the first student here. Okay, so first of all, Ishal, can you do the first one for me? Ishal or Ishil, I don't know how to pronounce it. Can you do the first one for me, Ishil? I will write a letter. CT number 1 marks will be shared with you afterwards, students. I told you, you have to follow the pattern as you do in the school. You submit the test and you have to wait. You have done the test at Maida, now you have to wait better. So can you do the first one for me, Ishal? I will write a letter. Can you change this to the passive voice? Come on, students, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Who can tell me? Ishal, you're not there? Okay, Faleha, a letter will be written by me. Very good. That is exactly what I was looking for. And Faleha is always the first one to reply. Thank you, Faleha. Okay, and then the second one. Who will tell me the second one? She will help me. Okay, Hamza, can you tell me she will help me? Hamza, can you tell me? Hamza Mushtaba, I'm waiting for you. If you can tell me, she will help me. The second question, can you answer my question, beta? I will be helped by her. Okay, Mariam is replying. Thank you, Mariam. But Hamza, I want you to reply me. She will help me. Okay, Hamza, by the time you write, there is no object miss. Okay, then this is no issue. If there is no object, you should know how to change it. And why is there no object? Me is the object, beta. She will help me. So the focus is on she and the object is me. Try to change it. Thank you, Faleha. You are answering all of them correct. Okay, so I'll be helped by her. Okay. Hamza, are you trying? I'm waiting for you. Okay, so the third one. Okay, let's have Moez Khan. Can you answer me the third one? She will not help us. Moez Khan, can you answer my third sentence? She will not help us. I'm waiting for your answer. Okay, you guys are right. Hamza Mushtuba, we will not be helped by her. Okay, thank you. You replied the third one. Okay, so Moez, I'm waiting for your answer. Can you answer me the third one or the fourth one? She will not help us. Okay, let's do the fourth one. We shall not betray our country. We shall not betray our country. Thank you, Zed, for your answer. But I guess where is Moiz? Moiz Khan, are you there? Okay, so Muniba Zubair, can you answer me the fourth one? We shall not betray our country. Muniba Zubair. Muniba Zubair, can you answer me? Are you there? Okay, Laiba, you are right, but I'm waiting for Miss. Okay, I'm waiting. Yes, Muniba, I'm waiting for you for your answer. We shall not betray our country. Our country shall not be betrayed by us. Okay, Mariam, thank you for the answer. Muniba, I'm still waiting for you. Okay, the next one. Will you help me? Now, this is a question. Will you help him? Now, this is a little tricky one. Will he help by you? Hamza, you need to put the auxiliary verb. You are missing the auxiliary verb, beta. See, when you change the sentence, yes. So, B. Where will you put this B? Will he helped by you? Will he be helped by you? Again, see, whenever you change it from active to passive, kindly make a checklist. Is the verb in the third form? Is the auxiliary verb there? Is the preposition by there? Have you changed the object and the subject's places? If you just put a checklist for all of these, then definitely it will be very easy for you. Will he be helped by you? Muhammad Zaid, Muhammad Zaid, it's going to be helped. Put an ed, the third form of the verb. Yes. Okay, the next one. Will they accept our invitation? Who's going to answer this one? Come on, Rohab, can you answer me? Yes, Rohab, can you answer me? Will they accept our invitation? Yes, Hamza, you are right. Your answer is correct. Okay, Rohab, are you there? Maida, it's invitation, not invention, dear. I think your Google make the spelling error itself or corrected it itself. Okay, Rohab, you are not there. So can I have the answer from Sania Javed? Yes, Sania Javed, can you answer me? She will have finished her work. Maida, you have to change it, beta. Will they accept our invitation is the active voice. You need to change it into the passive voice. You can't just give the same answer. Will they accept our invitation? Will our invitation be accepted by them? Okay. Will our invitation be accepted by them? This is going to be the answer. Okay. Okay, Sanya Javed, I'm waiting for your answer. For the seventh one, she will have finished her work. Sanya, are you there? Her work will have been finished by. Yes, you are right, Hamza. No, it's not like that. There will be no passive. There will be a passive, and it will be her work will have been finished by her. Okay. This is going to be the seventh one. If you have any questions, ask me right now. She will have finished her work. Her work will have been finished by her. Okay, the eighth one. Will she have cooked the food? Will the food have been cooked by her? Now see, these are the perfect tenses. The perfect tenses are always a little tricky because you have the haves and the hats. So you have to make sure if you are putting them correctly, okay? So the eighth one is, will she have cooked the food? Will the food have been cooked by her? Okay. The ninth one is, we shall not have accepted the apology. Who's going to answer this one? Sania, Rohab, you guys are not answering. That means you are not there. Okay, that's right, Maida. Will she have finished her work? Maida, you don't have to change it to the question form, beta. If it's not a question, if it's not an interrogative sentence, you cannot change it. I'm again and again telling you people this thing, that if the sentence is in the interrogative form, it remains interrogative. If it's a negative form, it remains in negative. If it's in the simple assertive sentence or affirmative sentence, it remains like that. Okay. For the seventh one, she will have finished her work. Her work will have been finished by her. You cannot change it. Will she have finished her work? Because it's not a question. Okay. Understand? The apology shall not have been accepted by us, right? Okay, this is the ninth one. Okay, let's go to the 10th, 11th, 12th. These are the imperative sentences. Okay, as I told you, learn the poem. So what is going to be? Let the poem be learned. And you're going to put a T in the end, okay? Let the poem be learned. No, Faleha, I told you it's going to be the third form. It's not going to be D, it's going to be Learnt. T for tiger, okay? Learned. It's not going to be learned, it's going to be learned with the T, okay? Let the windows, okay, open the window, let the window be opened. Again, you guys are not putting the third form here. I don't know why. Please put the third form. You are not putting the third form. I'm telling you again and again. Okay, and the last one, let the door be open. He can buy an apple, okay? So I hope the whole lesson was clear to you people. I hope you have understood everything. Take care of yourself. And if there's any question, ask me in the Google comment section. Okay, students? Thank you, everyone. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.